So you've ordered your glasses from the lab, but before they can actually make anything into a lens, they have to get the lens blank. And to make that lens blank, we have to cast it. And casting starts with making the molds, the front and the back mold. And here's how you make those molds. So similar to the way we start in regular RX processing, we start with a blank, and in this case we start with glass. And we use glass over any other type of material because glass is very rigid and holds up through casting. So the first step we do is we take this glass blank and we affix it to the holder. And unlike regular RX manufacturing, where we're putting a block on the front of the lens and we attach it by a wax or an alloy, all we're doing here is we're essentially snap fitting it onto the front of the holder. And it's pressure that holds it in place rather than any type of wax or alloy. Then we put it onto the machine and we stick it underneath the tool that's going to eventually cut the curve onto the lens. The machine, the generator, will feed the blank from the bottom up into the tool. And the tool that's cutting the glass blank is set on an angle, and that angle is what will eventually become the curve of the lens mold blank. So we start with fining, and the goal with fining is to take out the heavier tool marks that come off of generating. And the end result here is we have a mold that has more of a frosted look to it. To start, we take that same mold on that same tool holder and we'll put it onto a sphere fining machine. And we use a metal tool instead of the ceramic or the soft tools that we use in RX processing. The metal tools hold up more long-term and don't deform, since glass is a much harder material than the more plastics that we use in RX. You'll also notice that the pads we're using with the fining and the polishing process don't look similar to what we use in RX manufacturing. In RX manufacturing, because the materials we're working with are a lot softer, we use different types and grades of almost sandpaper to fine and then eventually polish out any of the imperfections that happen in generating. With glass, because of how hard the material is, we actually use more of a metallic pad to do the fining and the polishing. Or in some cases, we don't use any pad at all and just use the tool surface itself. After fining, which ends up, like I said, with this very nice frosted surface where the majority of the tool marks are out, we move on to polishing. And the end result of polishing is a very crystal clear lens that has no imperfections in it. And the reason we don't want any imperfections is so that the lens we eventually cast from this mold has a very good optical quality to it for the surfacing process in the lab. Once it comes off the polisher, we will double check to make sure all the curves are correct. And then we'll actually go back and reprocess the other side in some cases to make sure that the edge thickness of the mold will work with our gaskets and our taping process as we go through casting. And that's how molds are made. And in our next video, we'll look at how casting is done with these molds.